Thank you. And now for your starting lineups. First, for the Saints of Marymount University, starting at guard, 6'4" freshman, number 0, Ibrahim Kamara. Starting at guard, 5'10" senior, number 1, Michael Anderson. Starting at guard, 6'1" sophomore, number 11, Brandon Rogers. Starting at forward, 6'5" junior, number 12, Dimitri Rucker. And starting at forward, 6'6" junior, number 14, Alex Danko. The Saints are coached by Chris Rogers and assisted by Ted Bardach and Matt Howerton. And now the starting lineups for your Southern Virginia Knights. Starting at guard, 6'2" freshman, the beast from Middle East, number 3, Rashay Douglas. Starting at guard, a freshman, 5'1" freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, number 15, Chris Richardson. Starting at guard, 6'5" junior from Auburn, Washington, number 33, Auburn. Starting at forward, 6'5" senior from Canby, Oregon, number 45, Justin Laker.
Get a lot of minutes. Rashay Douglas actually ranks 8th in the Capital Athletic Conference in overall scoring. Home.
And the Knights probably remember the first time these two teams met at Marymount, a tough 67-65 loss for the Knights, a game that they easily could have won. They led that game at halftime on that Saturday in December when they played on the road in Marymount, and actually ended up losing that game by 2 points. That's a game that Tony Caputo, I'm sure, thinks they should have won back in December. They're hoping to make it a victory here today. Absolutely.
The Knights a much better basketball team at home. 2-5 right now at home on the season. Only one win away so far this season. The home crowd does a lot for the Knights here in the Knight Sports Arena, and hopefully they'll continue to do their part tonight as the Knights take on the Saints and we get ready for basketball action here in Capital Athletic Conference action.
And checking out the starting five for the Knights, looks like Justin Langford is going to get the start here today.
Absolutely. Justin has not had as many minutes as he's used to. He is a senior this year, but Justin is a very, very reliable basketball player. Great basketball IQ. Not as athletic as your typical basketball player, but a very good shot, very accurate shooter, and very smart player. He'll be looking to get involved with his maturity and leadership on the court tonight as the Knights try to get their second win in the Capital Athletic Conference.
Shea Douglas also getting a start. There was a time earlier this season when he was really coming off the bench, and lately he's been getting some starts. Chris Richardson has really stepped up his offensive game, and of course he's getting a start today.
Absolutely. Rashay Douglas, just a freshman, like we said, out of the Jafar Kingdom of Bahrain. Really kind of playing in the shadow at first of point guard number 2, Damon Thacker, who was the initial kind of favorite to lead the team with regard to points and scoring and leadership, but came down with a knee injury within the first or second game, Jim.
And you really kind of wonder how this season might have transpired if Thacker had been available from the get-go all the way through.
It's hard to say, but what we do know is that Rashay Douglas has stepped up in a big way for the Knights, leads the team in scoring, Capital Athletic Conference ranked 8th in scoring overall, and tonight he's looking to get involved, along with number 15 freshman Chris Richardson at point guard, number 33 Aaron Rumbaugh, a junior, absolutely amazing basketball player, leading the team in rebounds, assists, blocks, and second in scoring.
So we're ready to go here at the Knight Sports Arena, and play is underway. And the Marymount Saints will have the first possession of this basketball game. That is Ibrahim Kamara. Drops it down low to Rucker inside. He lost it out of bounds, and it's going to be last touched by the Saints, they say, so it's going to be Knights basketball. Backcourt pressure by Marymount. They'll drop back, man-to-man defense. Knights will try to get off to a good start. Down low, Richardson wide open, missed the shot inside. Knights battling for the rebound. Boy, how did Richardson get that open? Then again, how did he miss that shot? He was able to sneak behind the Marymount defense, Jake, and just could not convert.
Tough miss for Chris Richardson there. He'll have plenty more opportunities tonight. Good overall movement by the Knights. That's a good sign to start off on offense despite the initial miss.
Marymount works it around the perimeter. Again, the first time these two teams met back in December at Marymount. Knights lost 67-65. Kamara missing from outside on the three-point attempt. And now the Knights will try to score their first points of the game. Played just over a minute. Nobody yet on the scoreboard.
Now the Saints of Marymount University have one of the best defenses in the Capital Athletic Conference, only allowing around 60 points per game. We'll see how that plays out against the Knights offense this evening.
See how patient the Knights are on offense too. Room ball, baseline, hook shot, no good. And Cale Thornton, I think, trying to go over the back for the rebound, is quickly going to pick up his first foul of the game.
Somewhat of a gnarly foul there. You can see Ibrahim Kamara kind of shaking it off there. And Cale will come down with his first foul of the game, first team foul for the Knights.
We played about a minute and a half now, and each team still looking for their first points. Long three-pointer by Alexander, no good. And the Knights grab the rebound and pick up a foul from Marymount. It's going to be Kamara picking up that foul.
So far, the Saints of Marymount University have elected to take a couple more perimeter shots than you're typically used to seeing them shoot. Not an overly good three-point shooting team, only averaging 29% from beyond the arc.
Shea Douglas will try from the corner. Nice rebound there by Cale. And then he gets the stick back to go.
It's a big deal for the Knights to be able to get the first points of the basketball game, Jim.
That foul on Marymount. Nope, looks like it's going to be against the Knights. That'll be Langford picking it up, and that's his first. So 2 team fouls now on the Knights, just 1 team foul so far in Marymount. And going to the foul line will be Alex Danko. Junior forward from New Jersey.
Danko averaging 75% free throw shooting here this season. Gets his first to go of the night.
Knights come in 1-11 on the season, 3-16 overall. But again, they've had a lot of tough losses this season. Could easily have 4 or 5 conference victories as Danko ties the game with a couple of foul shots.
Now you see Marymount trying to implement that sticky defense here right off the bat as we go into somewhat of a soft press as they're trying to trap Rashae Douglas there on the sideline. Rumbaugh has no problems getting it across midcourt. But the Saints going to show that they won't back down defensively even at the beginning of this basketball game.
Cale Thornton looking for a backdoor pass, nothing there. Langford, foul line jumper, rimmed out, tipped by Rumbaugh, almost went in. Still tied at 2. Jump shot by Rucker is good.
Now Dimitri Rucker, Jim, is not going to miss many of those shots. Dimitri Rucker ranks 19th in the Capital Athletic Conference in scoring, leads the Saints in scoring overall, averaging 11.7 points a game and averaging 50% shooting from the field. It's pretty impressive. 1 and 2 shots of Rucker's are going to go in the basket from short range. You can't imagine he's going to miss much, Jim.
And he looks like he's got the inside and outside game. 4-2, Marymount on top. In our first game of the doubleheader, the women's contest, it was Marymount holding off Southern Virginia 75-57. Rumbaugh, baseline, couldn't get it to go. Rucker collects the rebound. Here's Kamara trying to go coast to coast. Too hard on the layup attempt. Now the Knights will fast break. Douglas back to Rumbaugh. He scores.
Great job by Rashae Douglas there with the unselfish play, recognizing that the defense of Marymount University was going to crash down on him and leave Aaron Rumbaugh a little bit open rather than going and drawing a foul, possibly missing the shot and having to earn his points at the line. Gives the ball to Aaron Rumbaugh for the easy layup.
Langford with the save, but they say he stepped out of bounds, and so it's going to be Marymount basketball. Ladarius McCord and Tyga Walker will check in for Marymount. And into the game is McCready for the Knights, replacing Cale Thornton. Tyler McCready, the freshman.
McCready coming off a great basketball game despite the loss against York College of Pennsylvania, leading the Knights in scoring with 13 points against the Spartans.
Rucker with the hook shot. We talked about his inside-outside game. His first stop near the foul line. That one, a little hook shot inside the paint. It is 6-4, Marymount by 2. Richardson goes left side to Aaron Rumbaugh. They get it over to McCready. He loses the ball, and it is picked up by Marymount. And Rumbaugh is going to pick up a kind of a cheap foul there with 15:52 to go in the open court. And that is quickly the third team foul on the Knights.
Rumbaugh just trying to get the steal from behind, loses his balance and falls on the back there of number 5, Ladarius McCord. Almost gets away with it, puts his hands up to signal to the ref that I'm clean, but just last second the ref calls him on it. Unfortunate for Rumbaugh.
2-point lead for Marymount. Here's Rucker again on the right baseline. Kicks it outside. Shot clock at 10. This is Danko to Anderson. Shot clock for Marymount is down to 4. They'll launch a 3, no good. And an offensive rebound for Danko. Here's Rucker. They go over to the right corner now for a three-pointer. It's an air ball out of the corner by Danko. Both teams kind of struggling on offense.
You're right, Jim. Only 5 minutes into this game, and the score is only 4-6. Both teams striving desperately to get in the front-running position with regard to offense.
A little reminiscent, I guess, to a certain degree of how York was on Saturday. They struggled in the first half.
The only difference was the Knights came out blazing on offense, Jim.
Knights had a chance there, miss. Here comes Marymount. They don't really have the numbers. But despite that, it was McCord trying to go all the way. He was 1 on 4 trying that layup, but he couldn't get it to go. And so back the other way come the Knights.
Blocked by Rumbaugh there from behind. That is Rumbaugh's now.
Nice pump fake by Langford, and he went too hard on the layup attempt. Rimmed out.
Rumbaugh's only 5th block of the season.
And Walker the other way is able to draw the contact. Tygo Walker going all the way. Not sure he really meant to get a basket out of that as much as draw some contact and get some foul shots.
There's strategy in that, Jim. Just go into the basket, hoping to draw some contact with no real intention to make the basket. Those are really hard shots to make. Sometimes you get lucky and get them to fall, but in that case, he draws the first foul from Rashae Douglas of the game and 4th team foul against Southern Virginia University. Now only 3 away from putting Marymount into the bonus with 14 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the first half.
And Marymount will take a timeout with 14:11 to go. It is Marymount on top here, 6-4. Marymount really needs this game. They are 6-6 in the conference, but just a game ahead of St. Mary's and Penn State Harrisburg at 5-7. Really a logjam there, Jake, when it comes to right now these teams competing for the top 6 spots.
Absolutely. You know, the Saints of Marymount University sitting on the fringe of playoff contention there in the Capital Athletic Conference. Every game matters at this point. The Knights, with 4 games remaining after this one, Marymount probably in a similar situation. And like you said, sitting on the fringe, you can't afford to drop a game this late in the season lest you risk falling out of playoff contention. Marymount with an overall good team, very athletic team, could make a run. You never know. You wouldn't expect them necessarily to make a run at the conference championship, but then again, you never know if you don't make it.
By the way, at halftime, we'll have a preview of Knights baseball. Yep, spring sports just around the corner. Lacrosse just around the corner. Baseball, softball just around the corner.
Absolutely. Spring is a very busy athletic time of the year for Southern Virginia University, with both men's and women's lacrosse teams taking the field, softball and baseball, as you said, Jim. Now we have the indoor track and field team who also are out running. We don't broadcast those, but nonetheless, a very busy time.
Tennis just around the corner as well.
Tennis as well, men's and women's tennis.
And I don't know if you're a big fan of his, but tomorrow it's Groundhog Day.
Oh, good to know.
Okay, I guess not. I guess you're not a big fan of Puxatawny Field.
I'm a fan if spring comes quicker.
There you go. 8-4 Marymount. Here's McCready, blocked by Rucker, but they say he also got the arm, so Tyler McCready, much-earned foul shots coming up here.
Now McCready, Jim, has a very bright future here at Southern Virginia University. Only a freshman, 6'10", 235 pounds with a lot of promise. Has gained momentum throughout the season. Didn't really start off maybe the way he wanted, but you got to expect that of a true freshman. But certainly towards the end of the season has gained a lot of momentum. And we will talk a little bit more about it after these messages, Jim.
I felt like I didn't just want to learn how to create art, I wanted to know what to create art about. At Southern Virginia, you're exposed to great art and ideas, getting the best of basically what the whole world has to offer. Professor Himes helps me so when I do create art, it can connect with other people. I don't want to just be a good artist, I want to be a good person who is an artist. I'm Corey Egbert and I'm a knight.
Marymount on top, 13:54 to go. By the way, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we will have men's volleyball coming up for you, as the Southern Virginia University men's volleyball team will be hosting Liberty's club team. That'll be coming up Thursday, 7 o'clock, where you can catch it on the webcast. And, Jake, it's a good chance for the Knights to continue that big winning streak they had last weekend.
Absolutely, Jim. The Knights in their inaugural season of men's volleyball. Just another team we forgot to mention for the spring. They'll play well through April.
Right.
They are 6-4 right now, with having a lot of success and looking with a lot of promise towards the future in the program as they finish out this season and enter into the Continental Volleyball Conference next season.
And a slim chance, I guess, making the postseason, depending on how they do in the remainder of the season and what everybody else does as far as at-large bids are concerned. But right now they're focused on beating Liberty tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Here it's 8-4, Marymount by 4. Driving layup attempt is blocked by the Knights. And a foul is going to be called against the Knights. Looked like Sloan had his shot blocked by McCready, but they also call McCready for the foul. So it'll be Emmett Sloan going to the foul line.
Emmett Sloan, a 67% free throw shooter on the season. Hasn't got a lot of minutes overall this season, but finding some of his first of the season here against the Knights at home.
And Marymount hasn't played particularly well. They haven't really shot the ball well except for Rucker. But despite that fact, Jake, they've been able to slowly build a 5-point lead.
Little by little, they've drawn more fouls than the Knights, which has put them at the free throw line a little bit more. Those add up little by little. Next thing you know, you're down 6 points. The Knights got to get something going here on offense to answer for the fouls they're giving up against Marymount in the free throws.
Yeah, the Knights just have 4 points in 6.5 minutes. Alec Johnson into the game. Almost lost the ball. Got it over to Richardson. Now it'll be Rumball firing the three, and he hits.
Great composure by Aaron Rumball, having to take the quick shot under a little bit of pressure, makes the three-pointer, his first of the game, 1 for 1 from behind the perimeter, and that cuts into half of the lead already that the Saints had built over the Knights, now only down 3 rather than 6.
This is Chauncey Pittman over to Walker. Now McCord will try a three-pointer, and he hits. Ladarius McCord, freshman guard from Woodbridge, Virginia, hits the three to answer the three put up by the Knights, and it's now 13-7 Saints.
Nothing but nylon shot there by McCord, one of the better three-point shooters on the Marymount offensive side, with 33% three-point shooting on the season.
And Michael Price driving to the basket scores. Michael Price is another guy here, Jake, that has really stepped up his offensive game in the last couple of games.
Absolutely. Price returning from an LDS mission recently, coming back onto the court after having taken 2 years off from basketball and really showing his stuff. Actually, one of the leaders on the team with regard to blocks. You wouldn't believe it, but no, that's a lie.
Another foul called on the Knights, kind of a late call too, goes against Alec Johnson.
Said he led with blocks. That's because I'm one line off. He actually is the leader in steals for the team. I was a little surprised when I thought I said he had 20 blocks on the season there, Jim, but it's actually steals. A really good defensive player overall. Very athletic players, Michael Price.
The more foul shots coming up here for Marymount. 6 team fouls now on the Knights, just 2 team fouls on the Saints. Chancey Pittman, freshman guard, first foul shot, badly missed. He's from Alexandria, Virginia.
Now, obviously, fouls are almost never good, and you don't like to see the Knights with 16 fouls already with still a little over 12 minutes remaining in the first half. But the good benefit is that the fouls have been rather spread out for the Knights. So you don't have any players in particular foul trouble so far, which helps. It's a little consolation despite the fact that they already have 16 fouls built up.
And the Knights have a pretty deep bench this season as well. Edmonds is into the game. His first appearance, backdoor pass to Roomball, reverse layup, couldn't get the shot to go. Thornton follow, couldn't get his shot to go. Gets it back outside of Jace Edmonds though. Clock resets, shot clock does. Under 12 minutes to go in this first half. Knights down by 5. Nice give and go to Thornton, and they call him for a travel.
Obvious little travel there, Jim. It looks like, we've talked about it the past few games. It's a really common travel in the game of basketball overall. You kind of fake the pass and then you take a few steps before you dribble. No big deal there. Unfortunately, the Knights don't get the basket they're looking for, but they'll have more chances.
Especially when you're that wide open and you're anticipating maybe a dunk. So now it's 14-9, Marymount by 5. Saints have that open look at a three-pointer, almost threw the ball away with the shot clock at 7. Pittman will fire a 3. It's good. Another 3 for Marymount. They're getting open looks at 3s, and they've been able to hit a few here in the first half, and a foul in the backcourt on Pittman. Just the 3rd team foul on the Saints. Non-shooting foul. Knights will take it out of bounds, trailing here by 8.
As we mentioned earlier, the Saints not an overly excellent three-point shooting team, but having some pretty good success tonight. You wonder if they'll pick up steam here, Jim, and continue to take three-point shots and hit them, or if maybe it's just a couple of fluke shots here at the beginning of the game that the Knights can overcome.
They have 87 heading into the game today. Price will try a 3 and hits.
Great answer by Michael Price there from the perimeter.
That's his 10th three-pointer of the season. He pulls his team within 5 now. Knights within 5. Walker for Marymount. Brings it back outside to Sloan. Shot clock for Marymount down to 10. Pittman will try another 3. This one's off. And the rebound to Price.
Great job by Michael Price selecting to slow down the game a little bit here. So the Knights aren't getting into rushed shot situations, but going to be a little more methodical here, look for an open opportunity.
Price tries to give and go. It's knocked away by Marymount, stolen away by the Saints. Walker, foul line jumper, no good, too strong. And Price gathers the rebound. Doesn't have the numbers, he'll slow it up. Edmonds threw it away. Looking to get it to Price. Some miscommunication there. Aaron Rimbaugh will check out. So the 5 on the floor right now for the Knights. Kellen Winslow, who just came in. Cale Thornton, Alec Johnson, Michael Price, and Jace Edmonds. Again, in the women's contest today, it was Marymount defeating Southern Virginia 75-57. Tough loss for the Knights. They never gave up. Played with energy for all 4 quarters. And they were facing a team that was 15-4 in the season. Marymount with that win now 16-4 and 10-3 in the Capital Conference. Of course, in both men and women, though, it's CNU on the top of the conference standings.
Absolutely. You almost don't even ask anymore who's on top. It's more of who's in second place, Jim.
Well, last I checked, in the top 25, I believe the women were near the top 10, and the men for CNU were number 3 in the country.
Very impressive basketball program they put on over there at Christopher Newport. And the Knights will have an opportunity to play them here in a couple weeks.
That's right, on the 15th, I think.
15th here at home.
And then wrapping up the season on the 18th against St. Mary's. So the Knights here in the last month or so of the season, Jake, a lot of chances here at home, and they have had some tough losses, as we mentioned, to Frostburg a few weeks ago, 74-73, and of course also 60-57 to York this past weekend. And it looked like Anderson, trying to get through a screen, picks up the foul instead. So Michael Anderson picks up the foul. He's explaining to the ref how he got fouled.
Pleading his case a little bit.
Which never works.
No.
Maybe it works for the next time. I don't know. Only the referees will know that.
Yeah, I doubt it.
We'll find out next time he goes through a pick. Winslow with it. Knights trying to get a little closer. Only down by 5 here. Under the 9-minute mark now. Price, jump shot, too strong. And Kamal got the rebound. Ahead to Anderson. Walker drops it off to Domain, knocked away by the Knights, but they call the Knights for a foul. And it's going to be Jace Edmonds picking it up. And it's going to be a 1-on-1 coming up here for the Marymount Saints.
You're almost surprised to see a call like that. It looked like a pretty clean foul. Like we've said before, Jim, you know, the ref has a better vantage point than we do, but they're being pretty liberal with the foul calling here tonight, not letting a whole lot of physical play happen. It depends on the reffing crew that you get. Neither way is wrong, but as a team, you certainly have to adapt to it. Some referees will let you play much more physically, and some referees will not let you play nearly as physically, which seems to be kind of the crew we have here tonight. Like you said, nothing wrong with either way, but the Knights will certainly have to adapt in order to stay out of foul trouble.
And fouls and foul shots really came into play in the first meeting between these two teams. Really aided Marymount in that 2-point win for Marymount at home. And a steal by Marymount as Jace Edmonds got the ball picked away from him. And Kamara misses the slam dunk, and he is fouled. Good foul by Jace Edmonds to stop a sure two. So Ibrahim Kamara will go to the foul line. He's averaging 9.7 a game. 68% foul shooter.
If the Knights aren't careful, they might find themselves in the double. Well, they might find the Saints in the double bonus here. We still have a lot of time to play here in the first half. 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining.
Another miss by Marymount at the foul line. They have missed a few here in the first half. They still lead, though, by 5 points. And Kamara got the second one to go. 6-point lead for Marymount.
What's nice here is that if the Knights can get the fouls under control, they find themselves in a really good situation, considering the fact that most of the points for Marymount have come by way of free throw.
Edmonds tried to pass that ball. No look. It was stolen away by Walker, and he is fouled onto the drive to the basket. We'll see if Kellen Winslow is going to pick this one up. Yep, Kellen Winslow will get the foul call. And more foul shots coming for Marymount. So looking ahead, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, men's volleyball, Southern Virginia hosting Liberty. And then on Saturday, we've got another doubleheader, Jake, as the men and women will be at home taking on Penn State Harrisburg.
Penn State Harrisburg here in the Capital Athletic Conference for the men, at least 5-7 in the Capital Athletic Conference, ranked 7th. Or 8th rather overall. They also, along with Mary Washington, Wesley, St. Mary's, and Penn State Harrisburg, all in the 6-6 to 5-7 record range within the Capital Athletic Conference. Within the middle of the conference, it's anyone's game with regard to who can make it into the playoffs, Jim.
Yeah, the Knights are 1-11, so they're not going to be able to make the top 6, but they could certainly decide here in the last month or so, Jake, who makes the top 6. Today, facing Marymount, and as you mentioned, Saturday, taking on Penn State Harrisburg.
And that is empowering in a way. In a way, you can say we can disrupt these guys' future of getting into the Capital Athletic Conference playoffs, and that's fun to play for, even if it's maybe not you making it into the playoffs.
Then for the returning players next season, try to build a little confidence and momentum by getting some wins down the stretch.
Absolutely.
Shot clock for the Knights is down to 8 now. They're going to have to fire. Edmonds gets it over to Shea Douglas with 2 on the shot clock, and he couldn't get the shot to go. Knights had a good look at it with 2 seconds on the shot clock. Back the other way, Walker, he scores.
Impressive layup there by Tyga Walker. Reaching out that right hand, having to get full body extension to get that ball to go, but does anyway despite the double the double team going on there under the basket.
Only averaging 3.4 a game, and Walker was able to get the layup to go to give Marymount its biggest lead so far, 9 points, 21-12. Edmonds will fire the three. Good!
So far, the Knights' success coming behind the three-point line, Jim.
That is just his second three-pointer of the season. 21-15. And Marymount will try a three, no good. And now the Knights have a chance to get a little closer, down by 6. Knights looking for something inside. Langford not able to get open. Shot clock, 8. They go over to Edmonds. Edmonds trying to get it back to Langford. Couldn't make the connection. Turnover for Southern Virginia. So we got a immediate timeout. 6:36 to go. 21-15. We'll break away for these messages.
High school, I never felt really pushed, and I kind of lost a love of learning. When you can have a whole semester of classes where every one of your professors, you can just say like, I have an amazing professor, but for every class, I just don't think that happens everywhere else. There's true friendships that develop here. I have good friends from another college, I have good friends from high school, but I have great friends here.
My name is Bubba Eisenhower, and I'm a Knight.
.636 to go, 21-15. Marymount on top. Knights right now with 7 turnovers here in the opening 12, 13 minutes of this first half here, Jake. And despite that, they've been able to hit 3 three-pointers and stay within hailing distance, only down by 6.
Absolutely. Marymount not having a lot of offensive success either. The majority of their points coming by the way of foul and getting points at the free throw line. If the Knights can get the fouls under control, they'll have lots of opportunities to catch back up here on the offensive end, as Marymount's not having a lot of success. However, there is the threat in number 12, Dimitri Rucker, who is the leading scorer for Marymount and a very big presence down in the paint as he gets his second bucket of the game.
He's now, Winslow hits a 3. So Kellen Winslow hits the 4th three-pointer of this first half of the Knights to pull the Knights back to within 5 at 23-18.
The Knights are now 4 of 5 from beyond the arc.
3-point attempt by Marymount's no good, and the Knights collect the rebound, only trailing here by 5. Shea Douglas trying to get into the scoring act himself. Gets shut off. They go to Richardson. No good. Knights not able to grab the offensive rebound. Here comes Marymount leading by 5. And a jump shot from the baseline is no good, and Winslow skies for the rebound.
What's interesting, Jim, is that the Knights have 12 of their 18 points from three-pointers, 4 or 5 from beyond the arc, and all 4 of those three-pointers are from 4 different players.
Here's Shea Douglas. Hits a 3 and he's fouled. 23-21, 5 three-pointers by the Knights, and Shea Douglas will try to make it a 4-point play, which he did, I think, a couple of times a few weeks ago in that Frostburg game.
Make that 5 for 6 from behind the arc for the Knights. All 5 threes coming from 5 individual players for the Knights. Everyone getting involved from behind the arc for the Knights. The three-pointers are keeping them in the game, Jim.
A reminder to stay with us at halftime. We will have a quick wrap-up of the first half and then get a good look at Knights baseball with a video. And Douglas misses the foul shot, so the lead stays at 2 for Marymount. Marymount led 21-12, and now the Knights are only down by 2. They have outscored Marymount 9-2. Rucker, who's got 6 points, drops the pass off. They look for Rucker inside. Knights do a good job of boxing him up. Shot clock at 4. Kamara, long 3, up and no good. Over the backboard. Knights will have a chance to tie or maybe take the lead with another 3-pointer.
Great job by the Knights, continuing to play good defense overall, starting to get the fouls under control a little bit as they've gone 4 minutes with only 1 foul, when at the beginning of the half there was more than 1 foul probably every 2 minutes. So the Knights doing a good job on defense right now, getting stops and creating some offensive momentum for themselves.
Southern Virginia trying to get an all-important conference victory, and Shea Douglas driving to the basket is called for a travel. So the turnovers continue to pile up for the Knights, as does the 3-pointers. Drive for Marymount, and they're going to count the basket as Rogers gets the layup to go along the left baseline, and then he is fouled, and the referees will signal the foul on Kellen Winslow.
And that will put the Saints of Marymount University into the bonus, although in this situation it was number 11, Brandon Rogers, with the shot. He did make it. It'll only be an and one. Looks close. It almost looked like Winslow had his feet planted there, Jim, but nonetheless the referees call the block rather than the charge, and they come away with the 3-point play.
And that boosts the lead for Marymount back to 5 at 26-21. Their biggest lead in this first half has been 9. Knights get it across the timeline. Roomball thought about a 3. Works it over to Winslow for another 3-point attempt, and that one's too strong. Knights kind of living or dying right now by the 3-pointer. It's been beneficial in this first half. Rucker with a baseline jumper, his first miss. Another 3-pointer by Marymount is up and good from the left corner. And that one was Josh Giardina to make it 29-21. So Marymount boosts that lead right back to 8 after the Knights had been able to get it down to 2.
And that is only Giardina's 7th 3-pointer of the season here. Shea Douglas,
backdoor layup. He is fouled, and he's got a chance at a 3-point play from the foul line.
Douglas is a right-handed basketball player, but a beautiful drive there to the left side of the basket, going up with the left hand, drawing the foul, and getting a very beautiful layup. Made it look seamless.
Yeah, not only a good leaper, good leaping ability, but able to twist his body where he shielded the basketball and was able to draw the contact. Pulls the Knights to within 6. And Douglas hits the free throw this time, completing the 3-point play. I believe he's got 6 for the game now. It's 29-24.
Getting his first minutes of the basketball game here for the Knights is number 4, Sam Armstrong, a returning sophomore after his LDS mission, and he's really heated up here at the end, towards the end of the season beyond the arc.
Of course, he had those big 3-pointers in the tough 1-point loss to Frostburg. This is Dumais, missing from outside. Knights grab the rebound, trailing again only by 5 here. We're down to 2:40 to go till halftime. Shea Douglas, he was really hot in the last couple of baskets. One from 3-point range, one on a drive to the basket. Let's see if he drives here with 6 to go. He'll fire a 3, no good. And Marymount corrals the rebound.
Good defense there on that offensive possession for Marymount University, forcing the Knights to take a rush shot as the shot clock winds down.
They leave Marymount open for a 3-pointer, and Michael Anderson, the senior guard from Leesburg, Virginia, is able to connect. And now suddenly Marymount is really starting to pile up its 3-pointers.
We mentioned earlier that Dimitri Rucker was the 19th leading scorer in the Capital Athletic Conference. Guess who's number 20? None other than Michael Anderson, averaging 11 points per game for Marymount University.
Langford connects on a 3. Boy, they really needed that one.
All the Knights getting involved here tonight, Jim, from behind the arc. That is now 6 3-pointers for Southern Virginia University, all 6 coming from individual, completely different players.
And a steal by the Knights. They can try to cut into this 5-point lead for Marymount with 1:28 to go till halftime. Shea Douglas able to get out of that possible turnover with a behind-the-back dribble. Langford with a pump fake, nothing there. Shot clock down to 10. Shea backing his way in, fakes, off balance, got it.
With the contact against Michael Anderson, going up with the right hand, single-handed shot without the support from the left hand, and still gets it to go. Almost surprised not to see him draw the foul there for the three-point play, but nonetheless, ball goes in the bucket. Very impressive by Rashae Douglas.
And the Knights are within 3, and Anderson on a drive to the basket. They're going to say Chris Richardson fouled him. Tony Caputo probably wants to know why Richardson was called, and on the opposite end, Shea Douglas didn't get a foul call when he made his basket. But Anderson will go to the foul line to shoot foul shots. He's only a 55% foul shooter. Kind of surprising there. Anderson hits the first one.
Coach Caputo trying to make a case for his team over here as he
and I'm not really
is feeling
sure
that the calls are very lopsided against the Knights tonight so far.
And I'm not sure you're ever going to get an explanation from the referees that's going to satisfy you. Second foul shot is up and good. Rolls home. So the 2 free throws by Marymount gives them a 5-point lead with 50 seconds to go till halftime. Knights trying to close this first half on a flourish. They've trailed by as many as 9, only trailing by 5 now. About a 20-second differential between shot and game clock as Shea Douglas couldn't get the roll. Tough shot to make. He almost made it. Back the other way comes Marymount. They can basically play for the last shot of the half, and now they're going to pull it out and freeze it. Maybe a half-second difference between shot and game clock. A three-pointer is no good by Marymount. And the Knights have it with 7 seconds to go. Ahead to Richardson. Richardson all the way. He scores. And he's fouled. And Chris Richardson scores with 2.8 seconds left on the clock. Kind of surprised, Jake, that Marymount took that shot with still 7 or 8 seconds left on the clock.
He did have the open shot there, and you know it is surprising to see them not run at the clock a little more, but he did have the open shot. It was a good opportunity. Unfortunately missed it, but gave the Knights a great opportunity to get down the court. Chris Richardson with the beautiful one-on-one shot despite the contact makes it opportunity for a three-point play to bring the deficit only down to 2, almost going into halftime.
And Richardson got the foul shot with 2.8 seconds left. It's 34-32. Marymount gets it in. Knocked away by the Knights. Richardson. Oh, he almost hit it.
And you almost thought that basket was about to go in. Richardson with about 1 second left to shoot it after the steal, and it almost goes in, which would have put the Knights up 1 point over the Saints of Marymount going into halftime, but it is 32 Southern Virginia University, 34 Marymount University.
So, Jake, despite some turnovers in that first half, the Knights were able to really hit the three-pointer, and they lead here, trail here at halftime by only 2, 34-32 Marymount.
It looks like, as you said earlier, Jim, the Knights have somewhat lived and died by the three-pointer. And may I add, it's not just three-point shots, but it's three-point plays.
Yep.
We've also had a handful of and-one situations for the Knights where they've been able to get the ball to go with both Chris Richardson and Rashae Douglas making shots, drawing fouls, and then getting the bucket at the free throw line. The Knights, as you said, living and dying by the 3.
And when it comes to those three-pointers, as you mentioned, it's everybody and everybody. It really isn't one person hitting the threes.
Absolutely. The Knights doing a great job at spreading the ball out overall here on the offensive end and getting stops on defense, which have allowed them to stay in this game despite the foul trouble that they found themselves in the first half, putting the Saints into the double bonus, really getting it under control at the end of the half and be able to cut into that lead, now only going down 2 going into halftime.
And you know, the Knights coming in 1-11 of the conference with Harrisburg coming up on Saturday. This game here today, you know, Tony Caputo would really like to see his team maybe close out the season with maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 more conference wins.
Absolutely, and Marymount is a good team to get their second win in the Capital Athletic Conference this season against here at home this evening, only losing by 2 at Marymount University earlier in the season. This is a very beatable team and a very capable Southern Virginia University basketball team to get the job done here at home tonight.
So again, halftime score, Marymount 34 and Southern Virginia University 32. Coming up next, we'll have a special video on Knights baseball. Then we'll take a little break here from the Knights Sports Arena. But again, coming up next, we will have a video on Knights baseball.
I'm entering my 8th year as the head coach
Jim.
here.
Hey.
So some of the goals that we have and expectations that we have for this year, our main goal is we want to compete. We just want to be competitive in everything that we do. Every pitch, baseball's a long game. There's a lot of ups and downs, and the game changes often. Time. And then another goal and expectation that we have is we need to set a standard of excellence. So we're going to be an excellent in everything that we do, from the weight room to the classroom, and then on the field. Another expectation that we have, we expect to be in the CAC tournament. I'm a firm believer that we can only achieve as high as we expect ourselves to achieve. So we expect to be in the CAC tournament, and we're going to compete to get there. The key things to make it simple to get into the CAC tournament, we tell our kids it's a race to 9 wins. 9 wins, you're going to get into the CAC tournament. That's easier said than done in the CAC. What it really comes down to is we have to be able to beat some of the bigger teams and better teams in the CAC. We've got to find a way to beat Salisbury. We've got to find a way to beat Christopher Newport, Frostburg State. We've got to find a way to beat those guys to even have a chance to get in the CAC tournament. So as far as key things, those are key wins versus opponents that we need. Things we need to do, our focus this year, champions do the little things right. And we're just really going to focus on the little things and just making sure we make routine plays, just gather outs, and do what we're supposed to do. We put together a non-conference schedule that's very competitive. Where we're located in Buena Vista, we're located right in the central of the ODAC and the USA South, and so we get to compete against those teams, and we get to compete against some of the best teams in the ODAC and the CAC, or in the USA South, which will help us be ready to play CAC opponents. The highlights of our preseason schedule, our guys are really excited to go down and open up at William and Peace, mainly because we get to go down and play at the USA Baseball Training Complex, so they're excited about that. And then for the first time since I've been coaching, we're going to take them down and spend a week down at Myrtle Beach, which will be nice because we'll play some teams from New York. It'll give them competitive teams that they've never seen before, so that will help as well. Yeah, so some of the key losses, as we know, we deal with losing missionaries, so we're excited that they're on missions, but the two that will really feel are young second baseman and center fielder, Jordan Nace and Cody Davis. They started all our games for us last year, did a great job as true freshmen. We're happy that they're on a mission. We're sad to see them go as athletes, but we're going to feel that loss. As far as returners and new people, we're excited about who we brought in. We've got some really good arms that have come in. We're excited about a young man out of Spanish Fork High School named Riley Daniels. He'll come in and probably be our number 2 pitcher as a freshman. So we're really excited about him, and then really we have a lot of returners coming back, so and we're excited about what we have. If we had to play today, Seth Burris, he'll be our number 1 pitcher. He's established himself, had huge wins last year against Christopher Newport and Mary Washington, and kept us in every baseball game that he pitched in. And that was as a sophomore. So this year as a junior, he's our clear-cut number 1. Riley, we expect to be in the rotation, and then Taylor Peterson comes back as a junior. So right now those would be our expected top 3 arms. Still a little too early to say it definitively. And then offensively, we're still working on things, but we got a senior in Josh Hilburn. They'll play center field for us. He'll probably be our leadoff guy. Ryan Saunders is a junior in the outfield. He started every game of his career here. and then Ryan Morin and Zach McNally in the infield, and Jordan Kiefer has been good for us for the last 3 years behind the plate. So, we feel like we have a more veteran team, and we've returned a lot of players, so we're excited.
Point here by Jake McMahon. And Jake, we got the first half numbers, and at one point in that first half, the Knights had 7 turnovers, but since then they were able to only have 1 turnover down the stretch in that first half of action, and of course they are only down by 2 thanks to 6 3-pointers the Knights had in that first half.
Absolutely, the Knights with some overall impressive numbers on offense, shooting 60% from behind the arc, 6 of 10. All 6 of those 3-pointers, like you just said, Jim, from individual players. Rashae Douglas, Aaron Rumbaugh, Justin Langford even getting involved there, shooting 42.9% from the field in comparison to Marymount University's only 30% from behind the arc and 32% from the field overall. You're almost surprised to see Marymount University ahead going into the second half, but as we mentioned in the first half, the Knights got into a little bit of foul trouble, sent the Saints to the line a lot of times, and the Saints getting a lot of points from the free throw line and are leading 2 going into the second half.
And the rebounding is pretty even. It's really kind of a tough second half to call as to who really maybe has an advantage heading into the second half.
Absolutely. My analysis would be that if the Knights can stay out of foul trouble, so far Marymount has struggled somewhat getting an offensive rhythm going. If the Knights can stay out of foul trouble and continue to get defensive stops, they'll come out with a win in this game.
So the second half is underway, and the Knights have the basketball. Starting this second half, only trailing here by 2, 34-32. But they would love to get really Shea Douglas involved in the offense, especially in the second half. He was able to hit some big shots in the first half. We got a traveling call on Marymount after they tried to steal the ball and get the Knights turnover, but it's going to be Knights basketball trailing by 2.
And interestingly enough here, the Saints starting off with a different starting 5 for the second half as they did to start the first half. We have, I'm trying to see, no, actually it looks pretty similar here. Jim, they're coming off with the same starting 5 as they did in the first half, but a lot of the starting 5 didn't end up playing a lot of minutes in the first half as Tyga Walker got involved along with number 5, Ladarius McCord for the Saints.
And Aaron Rumbaugh is able to hit that floater from the baseline to tie the game at 34. See if the Knights can build upon that. Maybe get a defensive stop here and take the lead. 3-pointer no good by Anderson. Rebound Rumbaugh. Then in the women's contest in our first game today was Southern Virginia falling to Marymount 75-57. Here in the men's contest, all even at 34 in the second half. Nice give and go over to Langford, and he couldn't hit the 10-foot jump shot. Ball knocked out of bounds. This last touch, they say, by Southern Virginia apparently. Almost looked like Marymount maybe had touched that last, and they signal that Marymount did indeed touch it last.
It was initially the side judge that elected to give the ball to Marymount, but the judge on the baseline saw it much more clearly. Marymount did in fact touch the ball after Rumbaugh's attempt at a rebound.
Knights will try to take the lead. It comes to Rumbaugh outside for a 3. Good.
And the Knights now improving to 7 of 11 from 3. That's Rumbaugh's second 3 of the game. He is now 2 for 2 from beyond the arc.
And I believe that's their first lead since maybe the opening seconds of the ball game. 37-34 Knights as they start this second half on a 5-0 run. How will the Saints respond? Drive by Rogers over to the right side. Back to Anderson. He fakes the 3, drives to the paint, misses the layup attempt. Battle for the rebound. Rutgers got it. Pushes the pass over to Anderson, blocked by the Knights.
Huge size disadvantage there against Michael Anderson going up against Aaron Rumbaugh. Easy block for the Knights, and now they'll have an opportunity to extend the lead here.
Knights by 3, trying to build upon that lead. Douglas drives, shoots with the left hand and scores.
Beautiful drive there by Rashae Douglas going one-on-one against the big Dimitri Rucker, and defensive and offensive threat for the Saints. Beautiful, beautiful left-handed layup for the Knights, and we'll talk a little bit more following this media timeout and these messages.
You get out what you put in. Or actually, you get out probably more than you put in. But if you put in effort, you'll always be blessed for that.
These participants have never experienced mission life before, so they've never experienced working with a companion, teaching with a companion, eating with a companion.
Every kid is completely different. So each kid needs to progress in different ways, and they have different strengths and weaknesses when they come in.
Just being here, I've felt so much love from God and from everybody here.
Being with all these different youth and leaders and returned missionaries, the Spirit is definitely here.
I thought if you knew your doctrine, then you can teach a lesson. But the thing is, you need to invite the Spirit, because sometimes we don't know the things that are going on in other people's life, and the Spirit tells us those things.
As you teach about the Spirit, as you learn about the nature of the Spirit, what the Holy Ghost can do, all the different hats the Holy Ghost wears. If you come here and you want to get better and you want to improve yourself and prepare yourself to be a missionary, you're going to do that.
(39-34), 17:48 to go here in this second half of action. The Knights trailed 34-32 at halftime, but they have started the second half on a 7-0 run to take a 5-point lead, their biggest lead so far tonight against the Marymount Saints. And now we'll see how the Saints respond to trailing for the first time tonight by 5 points. Walker, fadeaway jumper, he got it. Make that McCord. Ladarius McCord scoring to make it 39-36, and that was a basket that Marymount really needed.
Great extension there by Ladarius McCord, getting all of the jump out of that jump shot that he possibly could at the top of his jump, getting the shot off over the very tall Justin Langford. Great shot by the Saints, now only down by 3 against the Knights.
Rumbaugh with a spin move scores. Aaron Rumbaugh is really taking it to the Marymount defense.
Yes, he is, Jim. Very impressive spin move there, and the easy just pop shot over the top of the Saints defense.
Cale Thornton knocks that ball out of bounds. Last touch by Thornton, so it's still Marymount basketball with 19 on the shot clock.
Almost looked as if Rucker lost control of it. Might have gotten a little lucky there with Thornton making contact before the ball went out of bounds. Had Thornton not been there, it looked like he lost control and that it wasn't stolen.
Alec Johnson will replace Justin Langford. 41-36, Knights by 5. Here's Rucker. A driving, shooting too hard, missed it, got his own rebound. Knights had a chance at that rebound, but couldn't corral it, and now Marymount's got another chance at it. This is Danko passing inside to Rucker, working his way in and scoring. Boy, he really muscled that time against Cale Thornton to get that basket.
Great move there by Dimitri Rucker. You can see the Knights playing a little bit differently on defense, still playing well overall, but especially under the basket, playing a little more cautiously than they did as they got into foul trouble in the first half, not reaching for the ball near as much, giving up a few shots, but making the Saints earn them below the basket.
And that time Rumbaugh not able to connect on a 3. So now Marymount can tie with a 3-pointer. Down by 3 here with 16:05 to go in the second half. Saints working around the perimeter. Rucker drives on Thornton, fadeaway, too hard, off the glass, no good. Rebound, Cale Thornton. Richardson will try to go all the way. Gives it over to Rumbaugh on the right side. Now Shea Douglas with a 3. It is short, air ball. Marymount on the break. And we're going to have, I think, palming the ball, the call on Walker of Marymount. He got kind of caught driving up court, Jake, in open court, and Richardson flashed by him, and that kind of threw him off.
Kind of threw him off there. A little bit of a carry. Good call by the refs. And the Knights will have another offensive possession and try to extend this lead.
Here's Rumbaugh thinking about a 3, drives instead, and he's fouled on his way to the basket. Non-shooting foul, as Danko will pick up this foul for the Saints. Richardson outside with it. Now it's Douglas on the left side. Knights in no hurry here. 3-point lead in the ball. Rumbaugh, nice pass to Alec Johnson. Didn't take the shot though. Kicks it out to Shea Douglas, and he's too strong in his three-pointer.
Great movement there by the Knights. You almost thought there was going to be a layup. It would have been contested, but instead kicked it out for the uncontested three by Shea Douglas. Good look by the Knights. Unfortunately, it doesn't go in, but they'll be looking for more offensive possessions like that.
And looks like we've got a foul called on Anderson. It was just no way for Anderson, Jake, to get in front of Richardson to stop that fast break except by fouling.
Great job by the Knights forcing the turnover and able to get themselves in a situation where they could draw a foul, or probably would have been an easy bucket either way. Win-win for the Knights, and they'll look to extend their three-point lead.
The Knights have really been playing well at home, playing a lot of close games, tough losses I know, but they got to have some confidence as Roombaugh got the roll on the baseline.
Very beautiful left-handed roll, finger roll there for the basket. That was a hard shot to make there, Jim. Impressive bucket.
43-38, Knights again lead by 5. Rucker, we'll see he'll back his way in against Cale Thornton. And looks like the foul will go against the Knights. Going to be Cale Thornton picking it up. It's going to be tough for Thornton to handle Rucker. Rucker is 6'5". Cale's 6'7", so he's got the height advantage, but Rucker just seemingly plays a lot bigger than 6'5".
I mean, in Rucker, it doesn't have his weight on here, but you can tell he's a little bit beefier, very muscular player. So he's got the physicality to be able to compete with guys a little bit bigger than him. Luckily, the Knights don't just have Cale, but they also have freshman 6'10" center Tyler McCready, who can take care of business if Cale gets himself into a little bit of foul trouble like he has here in the second half.
Walker grabbing that missed shot, got the rebound, but then he stepped on the end line, so the Knights will take it right back with a 5-point lead. They got a chance here now to start building upon this 5-point lead. Roombaugh gets it across the timeline. 14 minutes to go in regulation. Knights by 5. Trying to get a conference win at home for just the second time this season. Their only conference win against Mary Washington at home. Alec Johnson got free and he missed the shot, but it's tipped in by McCready,
who gets the and one bucket. That is an absolutely heads-up play by Tyler McCready with the easy layup for Alec Johnson. Misses it. McCready there for the follow-up, puts it back, gets the foul. Opportunity for a three-point play with the free throw. The Knights could go up by 8 points here early in the second half.
And between Alec Johnson getting totally free, McCready also there for the offensive stick back. It looked like Marymount was kind of lost defensively. There was a lot of defensive breakdowns for the Saints. And McCready misses the foul shot, but there's a rebound by Aaron Roombaugh. 7-point lead and the basket for the Knights. Nice pass by Alec Johnson to McCready, and he is fouled.
The Knights playing some very impressive offense, very shifty, catching the Saints off guard left and right with some beautiful, almost no-look passes, quick, methodical passing, getting very wide open shots and exploiting the gaps in the Saints defense. Very impressive offensive clinic being put on here by the Knights early in the second half as they will draw the 4th team foul against Marymount University.
So it's 45-38 with 13:32 to go. And the Knights have a 7-point lead here, Jake.
Absolutely, and it's these kinds of timeouts that the Knights like to be a part of. There's nothing better to the ear than when you're in a basketball game or in any game for that matter. You get momentum going and then you hear the whistle blown for a timeout for the other team, basically just telling you that we need to regroup and figure it out, because for the Knights against the Saints of Marymount University, confusing them on defense, exploiting lots of gaps and getting wide open shots. The Saints certainly need to regroup if they're going to keep the Knights from pulling away in the second half here, who have had an impressive start to the second half, coming into the second half down 2 points, and next thing you know, with an opportunity to be up 9 following these free throw shots.
And if you're the Saints, maybe your best bet on offense right now is try to kick that ball down low to Rucker.
Absolutely. Rucker really the only light right now in the Marymount Saints offense, getting some wide open shots and getting some good shots against Cale Thornton, drawing some fouls against Cale Thornton. I think you're right, Jim. If the Saints are going to have some momentum here on offense in the second half, Darius Rucker's going to need to play a big job, and also potential threat on offense for the Saints is number 1, Michael Anderson, who's been a little cold here in the first half.
Yep.
But he is also a very explosive offensive player who could catch fire quickly if you don't keep him accounted for.
And the Knights are just trying to figure out a way here. Maybe it comes to tonight as far as hanging on to this lead. They're trying to figure out a way to play with the lead and maybe expand upon the lead.
Absolutely. And McCready will have the chance to do just that here as he gets ready to take his first foul shot of the second half. However, it looks like we have a little bit of a stoppage here by the referee. Alec Johnson with a little bit of blood on his knee, going to have to get that cleaned up before he returns to the basketball court.
So Langford will replace Alec Johnson for the time being. And McCready will try to make it an 8-point lead. He does. 46-38. One more coming. And McCready got them both. 9-point Southern Virginia University lead. Now we'll see if the Saints are able to respond as they are now trailing by their biggest deficit so far tonight, 9 points. Shot clock at 10. This is Rucker. Off to Walker, driving, missing, rebound, room ball. 9-point lead and the ball for the Knights. They go left side to Richardson, back to the right to Price. Room ball, baseline, launches, misses. Anderson grabs the rebound, starts the break, stutter step, misses the shot. Richardson is going to be called for the foul.
And that'll actually be the first foul called against the Knights in the second half below the basket. That is a second team foul for the half, but you can see noticeably if you watch when the Saints go down low with the basket, you see both hands for the Knights defenders under the basket going straight up in the air to show that they're not making contact with the arms and disrupting the shot, but still contesting it there. Richardson with both hands in the air unfortunately gets called for the foul, but overall the Knights doing a much better job playing a little more cautiously and not giving up those fouls below the basket by making contact with the arms.
And Alec Johnson and Shea Douglas will replace Langford and Rumbaugh. 47-39. Knights by 8. Anderson makes it a 7-point Knights lead. Maine and Kamara check back in for the Saints, who now trail 47-40. Backcourt pressure by Marymount, trying to force the action.
And the Knights going to have to get up the court here to avoid 10 seconds and do so.
Down low, McCready, mismatch inside, and he scores.
Beautiful job by the Knights and Michael Price, noticing immediately the mismatch between Tyler McCready and number 2, Tyga Walker. Huge height difference there. Easy basket for Tyler McCready down low.
That's a 9-point lead again for Southern Virginia. It'll be Kamara firing a 3 and hitting, 49-43.
Great.
So Marymount trying to hang in there.
Great shot there by Kamara. Contested shot by Rashae Douglas. Almost nothing more you can do there unless you foul. Don't want to give one of those up. Kamara with a good shot.
Douglas trying to work free. Hands it off to McCready. Back to Douglas. He scores.
Absolutely beautiful drive there by Rashae Douglas with the 2-step hop and gets up easily between 3 guys. Almost made it look too easy there, Jim.
That's
going
just,
between 3 guys.
Just athleticism right there.
And that's probably exactly right. Just pure athleticism by Rashae Douglas.
Walker.
Just like that was some good athleticism by Walker, except he doesn't get the bucket to go.
Yeah, he missed the layup too strong, and the Knights have an 8-point lead in the ball now. Over to Alec Johnson, he scores.
Beautiful.
10-point Southern Virginia lead.
Just absolutely beautiful there by the Knights on offense. Great pass by Rashae Douglas. Great composed shot by Alec Johnson. 10-point lead for the Knights.
And a steal. 2-on-1 break. Richardson all the way. Price with a follow. He has knocked the ball loose. and they call jump ball possession arrow. Boy, it looked like a lot of contact there, but the referees rule jump ball possession arrow, and the possession arrow will favor Marymount.
You know, you got to give credit there to number one, the senior out of Leesburg, Virginia, Michael Anderson for Marymount University, finding himself in a 2-on-1 disadvantage. Kept his composure, played very well, played right in the middle of Chris Anderson and Michael Price on that fast break, got the good defense against Chris Richardson on the shot, who misses it, and ultimately the Saints come out with the ball.
Here's Pittman, baseline, and no good. Rebound, Michael Price. Really hard to imagine the Knights not winning tonight the way they're playing right now, Jake. I know still over 10 minutes to go, and the Knights have had some problems holding on to the leads this season, but right now it just looks like Southern Virginia is the more dominant team.
And they're making it look easy right now, Jim. And that's what's really nice, is that they're playing very smooth basketball. It's not like they're getting some really good, lucky, crazy circus shots to go, but they're playing the game of basketball beautifully. And that's what you like to see here. It looks like they've really figured things out against the Saints defense tonight.
And Alec Johnson inside is fouled. So Alec will go to the foul line to shoot foul shots with a 10-point lead. Alec Johnson makes it an 11-point lead. Remember, the first time these two teams met at Marymount, the Knights led at halftime, and Marymount was able to claim a 2-point win. But it's been all night so far in this second half as Alec Johnson hits 2 foul shots. So the Knights trailed by 2 at halftime. They're now leading by 12. They're on a 23-9 second half run. Basket by Marymount cuts the lead back down to 10.
Great shot by Tyga Walker there. Coming off the pick against McCready, and Rashae Douglas gets the full extension shot, gets it to go. Great shot.
Richardson gets it to Alec Johnson, lob down low. It's McCready working his way in, lost the ball, put it on the floor, got sandwiched. Walker all the way, no good. Slam dunk by Kamara, missed it. And Douglas back the other way, left-hand shot, no good. McCready picks it up, and he is fouled.
You almost would have liked to have seen McCready there just take it all the way to the basket. Elects to give it back to Shea Douglas with the trust there. Shea kind of gets up going, why didn't you just take it? You know, but luckily enough, Shea misses, but there's enough Knights there to clean it up. McCready goes up for the shot, gets fouled, and he'll have a chance at the line for 2 points.
And unlike the first half where the Knights were really piling up the fouls, Jake, in the second half it's Marymount amassing the fouls. McCready misses the first one. Rucker will check back in. McCready trying to make an 11-point lead. He missed 2 foul shots, and so the lead stays at 10. Rucker near the foul line, spins, shoots, misses, he's fouled, and Rucker goes to the foul line. So McCready picks up that foul. His second.
Rucker, a hard offensive player to contain overall. As you can see, will fake you out left then right and then go up with the right, or vice versa. You never really know. So it's hard not to put hands on a player like Dimitri Rucker, rather, who draws the foul.
Cale Thornton will go in, probably replace McCready, who just picked up his second foul. Just not sure Marymount has enough in the tank besides Rucker to make a comeback trailing by 10. They still have 9:28 to work with. Rucker got 1 out of 2 from the foul line. The lead right now 9 for the Knights, 55-46. Southern Virginia trying to pick up its second conference win and 4th win overall. Richardson had the ball knocked out of bounds.
Jim, looks like the basketball almost just took your head off there.
Just about.
You know, that's what I look forward to coming to a basketball game. You know, we're over here talking the entire time, and we hope to get in the game a little bit, catch some action, and tonight we got our chance. The Knights almost giving the ball away as the Saints deflected out of bounds and almost give you a concussion in the process there, Jim.
Bad, not that close. Of course, I was kind of hoping, Jake, that you would reach out a hand and grab that ball.
I got to admit, I got a little more scared than I did assertive. I'm sorry.
9-point lead for the Knights with 10 on the shot clock. Here's Jace Edmonds. Over to Shea Douglas, working his way free. Missed the shot inside. Tough miss there.
Some absolutely shifty moves there by Shea Douglas. You almost would have loved to see him finish it with a beautiful layup, but nonetheless, very athletic player.
Boy, you really hope, Jake, that some of these freshmen like Douglas, like McCready, just to name a couple, they're going to hang around for all these years and really do some great things for Knights basketball.
Absolutely. If there's anything to say about the Knights team for the future, it's that they've got a lot of very young, very good talent on the basketball team that could be very well developed, better than they are now, and they're talented players even as freshmen.
Oh, Kamara takes the inbounds pass and taps it in to make it 55-48, and suddenly Marymount's within 7. Knights have to be careful here. They've had some leads this season. They've had a hard time at times holding on to the leads, and they're going to call a timeout. Southern Virginia will take a timeout with 8:26 to go. 55-48, like on Saturday, Jake, when the Knights had a 16-point halftime lead, or first half lead, 14-point second half lead. Couldn't hang on to that. I believe they led at times in that Frostburg game and ended up losing that one by 1. On the other flip side of that, they had the lead against Mary Washington at times and ended up winning that game by 5 points. So they're obviously trying to find a way to hold on here against Marymount.
Absolutely. A lot of teams would wait to call a timeout like this until the deficit had been bitten into a little bit more, but we'll talk more about that after this video.
Ready to go, 8:26 to go in regulation, 55-48. Southern Virginia by 7. They trailed by 2 at half and have a chance here to build upon a 7-point lead.
Coming off this timeout, Coach Caputo trying very quickly to make sure this deficit isn't delved into any more than it already has been. They haven't lost much of a lead here, but you also don't want them to gain momentum. Good, smart timeout call by Coach Caputo here.
Knights had a shot there, couldn't get the shot to go. And now Marymount with a bucket could get within 5, maybe even 4 with a three-pointer. And they are a little sloppy, throwing that ball into Rucker. It's picked up by Kamara. Outside, it'll be Rogers missing a 3, and Jace Edmonds grabs that rebound. Oh, boy, Walker took a pick from Cale Thornton and went down right away. Edmonds will fire the 3. It's kind of flat, but he got his own rebound. But he threw the ball back to Thornton. It's picked away by Walker. Walker to Anderson. He scores, and he is fouled.
Hard pick there against Tyga Walker is Cale Thornton, the big man, but unfortunately, Jesse Edmonds throws it right back to Tyga Walker, so he gets his. And then the Saints take it back down the court as Michael Anderson draws the foul. Pretty obvious foul there by Alec Johnson. And he has opportunity at a three-point play here to make the deficit down from 7 only 30 seconds ago to 4.
Yeah, the Knights at least had a 10-point lead. I'm trying to remember if it got up to 12. It was at 53-43 just a couple seconds ago. There's a missed foul shot, but a rebound by Rucker. He can't get the follow to go. Kind of surprised he didn't pull it out. That was almost an impossible shot for Rucker to take.
Probably reverting back to what he's been getting all this game so far and hoping to draw a foul, but he unfortunately stretches out probably a little too far to get a call like that. Now the Knights will get the foul call, 8th team foul against Marymount University.
And Rumball will go to the line for a 1-on-1. Fouled by Walker, that's his 3rd. Knights are going to have a great chance, I think, Jake, in the final 7 minutes, maybe from the foul line, to really solidified things. That was another problem on Saturday against York. The Knights kind of struggled at times at the foul line.
Absolutely. It might have been a much, much different basketball game, Jim, had the Knights been able to put it together from the foul line, doing a much better job overall this evening. Rumbaugh gets his first to go here. And the second, the Knights extend the lead, 57-50 over the Saints of Marymount University.
2 big foul shots there, 57-50, Knights by 7. Rucker, high post. Anderson drives, can't get it to go, and a foul called inside.
The Knights overall here in the second half doing a little bit better job from the field, shooting 45% from the field in comparison to only 43% in the first half. However, they have slowed down significantly from the three-point line, shooting 60% in the first half, only 20% right now in the second half, getting it done on a lot more methodical passing and easy layups under the basket as the Knights have exploited some pretty big gaps in the Marymount defense.
And just 11 turnovers for the game now. The Knights pretty much in that first half had 8. Only 3 turnovers, though, for the Knights in the second half so far.
In comparison to 5 turnovers for the Saints of Marymount University, who came in the second half with only 3 turnovers, Jim, and now up to 8.
57-51, 6:54 left on the clock. Marymount won the women's contest over Southern Virginia, 75-57. Second free throw missed. Lead is 6 for Southern Virginia University. This is Rumball. Now Alec Johnson. Rumball leads the Knights in scoring so far with 14. Had that shot blocked. McCready picks it up. Over to Richardson. Back to McCready, and he left his shot short.
McCready with the big height advantage here under the basket. You would have liked to have seen him maybe take a couple steps towards the basket before going up for that shot.
Blocked by McCready. Kamara had his shot rejected by Tyler.
Absolutely redeems himself, Jim, with a monster block there on defense as Tyler McCready.
Kind of surprised Kamara took it right at him, and he paid the price. The ball on the floor picked up by Anderson. Fast break to Kamara. He misses. Rumball is going to be called for a foul.
You know, Jim, you're kind of surprised to see that foul call there against the Knights as Rumball intentionally turns away from the shot to avoid contact or even the thought that he could be trying to contest the shot, but somehow still gets the foul call against him.
And Kamara, foul shot is good. He's about a 68% foul shooter. He pulls Marymount to within 5 at 57-52 as Rumball picked up his second foul. And now 57-53. 4-point lead for Southern Virginia. They had it up to 10 a few minutes ago. Now it's down to 4, and a steal by Anderson all the way. Couldn't get the shot to go, but a follow is up and in by Rogers. It's 57-55, and a timeout will be taken by the Knights.
And the Knights are going to have to be careful here, Jim, getting into turnover trouble here as they've done so well so far here in the second half. And just like that, following the previous timeout, the Knights have now had 3 really quick turnovers, which have led to every single turnover have led to points for the Saints of Marymount University, who were just down by 8 points, now only down 2 with 5 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the second half.
Well, we talked about it. The Knights against York had a 14-point second half lead. They've had leads this season at times, not been able to hold those leads. They were able to hold it against Mary Washington. And here they had a 10-point lead just a few minutes ago, Jake, and now it's all the way down to 2.
Absolutely, and you would absolutely hate to see the Knights let go of another lead here in this basketball game against the Saints of Marymount University, but the game is not over yet. The Knights still playing well overall. If they can get the turnovers under control, the Knights still have a good shot, as they are still playing pretty well on the offensive side of the ball. The only thing is now that Marymount is beginning to gain some steam on the offensive side of the ball. So if you give them additional possessions by turning over the ball as they continue to gain steam, you just give them lots of opportunities to delve into this lead even more. The Knights need to be able to punch back with some good offensive possessions on their own.
Foul shooting could obviously be a key. The Saints have 18 fouls. Knights have 17 fouls. Knights came in as a team hitting 67% of the foul line. Marymount as a team 65% as a foul shooting team entering the contest. So turnovers and foul shots really could help to determine the winner of this ball game.
And you're right, Jim, considering the fact that almost everything else is almost dead even. The Knights are overall shooting better, taking less shots, but with regard to rebounds, they're absolutely dead even.
McCready, following Michael Price's miss, scores to make it 59-55. So the Knights get an all-important basket to give them a little breathing room. Now a 4-point lead. Knights trying to pick up their second conference win of the season. A three-pointer by McCord is up and good. Ladarius McCord hits a three-pointer.
And that's Richardson for the Knights, giving McCord just a little too much room there. McCord exploits that opportunity and gets the good three-pointer to go.
McCready couldn't get the hook shot to go, and Marymount claims the rebound. They can actually claim the lead with a bucket. 59-58. Saints trying to come all the way back from a double-digit deficit. Anderson slides that pass inside, up and in to Rogers, and Marymount takes the lead back at 60-59.
It was Alec Johnson with his back turned towards number 11, Brandon Rogers, who sneaks past him from behind for the backdoor easy layup shot. The Knights are going to have to be a little more vigilant on defense as the Saints are gaining steam.
Brumbaugh couldn't hit his shot. Fast break for Kamara. He tries to go all the way and is fouled by Michael Price. That'll be the 8th team foul on the Knights, and a 1-1 coming up for Kamara. So the Knights trying to stop this Marymount streak. Knights had a double-digit lead about 3-4 minutes ago, but now trail by 1 point with 4:06 to go.
The Knights playing well overall here tonight, but showing a few minutes here of weakness in the second half, late in the second half. More turnovers, a couple easy layups missed here, Jim. The Knights are really going to have to keep their composure and play well in order to come back from this now 2-point, possibly 3-point deficit, assuming that this foul shot goes in order to come out with the win in this basketball game here at home.
And Kamara hits both foul shots to make it a 3-point ball game. It was, 5 or 10 minutes ago we were saying the Knights looked like the dominant team and there was no way they could blow this lead, and yet really Marymount is... You got to take your hat off to them. They have really made a great comeback.
Absolutely, Jim.
Here's Price outside with it. Knights only down by 3, trying to get a big basket. Pass knocked away by Rucker with 10 on the shot clock. Shea Douglas will check in for Michael Price. 3:45 on the game clock, 10 on the shot clock for the Knights. Room ball. Gets it into McCready on the baseline. Works his way in and scores.
Great offensive play against Dimitri Rucker there on the basket, backing him down hard. That's an absolutely big man play with the hook shot by Tyler McCready, the freshman out of Canby, Oregon.
That brings the Knights within a point, 62-61.
Out of North Bend, Washington, rather.
Here is Rogers hitting a three. Well, he didn't hesitate on that shot. Brandon Rogers, sophomore guard, makes it 65-61 Marymount. Remarkable how Marymount has turned it around, Jake. For a while there, we were wondering where they're going to get their offense, and now they suddenly seem to be very confident on offense. McCready is fouled inside.
McCready doing a good job being fearless under the basket. As I said earlier, he's not from Canby, Oregon, Jim. He's actually from North Bend, Washington, and he's doing a great job doing his part as a true freshman here under the basket, going up fearless against a very physical Dimitri Rucker and a very good basketball player. He's doing a great job, and if he's not getting the bucket, he's drawing the foul, and he's not shooting horribly from the foul line. Not the best free throw shooter in the entire world, but he's doing his part.
Yeah, came in just a 52% foul shooter, and he needs these foul shots, though, with the Knights trailing by 4. I know there's still over 3 minutes to go in the game here, Jake, but the last thing you want to do is start to fall further behind.
Absolutely, especially as time winds down, each free throw shot becomes more and more critical to the success of the basketball team overall. And inversely, the pressure builds. And so we'll see how Tyler McCready does here under pressure and how the Knights respond to adversity as their lead has been dwindled very quickly. And next thing you know, the Saints are on top by 4 points, 65-61 over the Knights.
Well, you'd love to see these guys come from behind now from a 4-point deficit and get this win, because they have really been battling in games really throughout the season. You had games in December against Wesley at home, Marymount on the road, where they had the halftime lead, could not hold the lead in those 2 games, could have easily been wins in those games. And Frostburg, a 1-point loss, York, a 3-point loss. Knights are 1-11 in the conference, but they could easily be 6-6.
Absolutely, and there's no secret here as to how the Knights can win this basketball game. The majority of the points for the Saints are coming either from behind the 3-point arc or by Dimitri Rucker under the basket. If you can shut down Rucker under the basket and lock down the perimeter shooting and force other players other than Dimitri Rucker to try to get shots from inside the paint, the Knights have a good chance at being able to get good defensive stops. As long as they can get it going on offense and continue to get buckets, the Knights could easily come away with this basketball game.
McCready needs these foul shots, and he missed the first one. One more coming. Fouled in the act of shooting. He missed that one, left it short. Rebound Marymount.
The Knights really needed those free throws there, Jim. Unfortunately, don't get them. The deficit's still at 4, but still plenty of time here to play.
Now they need a big defensive stop with 2:48 to go in the game. Marymount running a little clock here. It's Rucker taking it, drops it off for Rogers, and he hit a 3. Another 3-pointer by Brandon Rogers, who came in the leading 3-point threat for Marymount. 31 3-pointers made heading into the game today, and he hits a big one there to make it 7 points. And now McCready right back scores to make it 68-63.
Very critical possession there for the Knights. 4 points is overcomable. 7 a little more daunting. If you don't get a bucket there and then you come give up a bucket here on this possession, it becomes to be a little scary. Great answer by the Knights.
Suddenly you got to watch number 11, Brandon Rogers from 3-point land. Here's McCord on a drive. He can't score. Ball out of bounds. Knights basketball with 2 minutes on the clock. And Cale Thornton checking in for McCready.
And that's exactly what we just talked about, Jim. If you can lock down perimeter defense, and if you can keep Dimitri Rucker accounted for into the basket and force other players to take it to the hoop, you have a good shot. Sure enough, you force another player other than Rucker to take a shot from inside the paint, and they don't get it. Knights get a defensive stop.
Brumbaugh gets it over to Richardson. Remember that Marymount has 9 team fouls. Cale Thornton backs his way in. Hook shot, no good. Couldn't get the roll. Kamara grabs the rebound from Marymount with 1:38 to go. Saints by 5. This is McCord outside to Anderson. Needless to say, Marymount's going to run clock here.
The Knights going to have to get a defensive to stop here.
Anderson going baseline, kicks it over to Kamara for a 3. Too strong, air ball. And with 1:10 to go, the Knights really, this is almost a must trip down floor, Jake. They have to have points here. Richardson is called for a charge.
Heads up play there by Michael Anderson, as Richardson not really with many other options than to drive there. Richardson, as you could see before the foul was called against him, looking for opportunities to dish it off. No one there on the Knights offense, and unfortunately gets called for the charge.
And the Knights will take a timeout. There's still 60 seconds to go. The Knights still only trail by 5. But now you're in a tough situation here, Jake. Do you obviously play defense and try for the defensive stop? That's would waste a lot of time off the clock, even if you do get the stop and you're still down by 2 possessions. Or do you foul and take a chance by sending Marymount to the foul line?
With 1 minute to go, Jim, it's hard to say, and it'll be interesting to see what Coach Caputo elects to do here as they take the defensive side of the ball here on this next possession. As you said, 60 seconds remaining. Ideally, you'd almost like to see a very, very aggressive defensive strategy here without fouling, hopefully force a turnover maybe, because you better believe the Saints are going to come out and try to run the clock out. And so you're going to have to play right on them and force them to make bad passes. Or who knows, maybe they come out and foul.
Yep. Because if you try to play defense, if you don't get the steal and you play defense for the shot clock, for the entire shot clock, and especially if Marymount makes a basket, then Marymount's almost in a
or
powerful
miss
position.
and get a reset shot clock and an offensive rebound, then you're in a very dangerous situation. Lots of options here for the Knights with 60 seconds remaining, down 5 points, 63-68 against the Saints of Marymount University. It'll be interesting to see what Coach Caputo elects to do with his basketball team here as they look for their second win in the Capital Athletic Conference here at home this evening against Marymount.
And you hope they get it, because otherwise they'll be thinking about how they let another lead get away.
You know, and that's a little disheartening. You really want to see the Knights come out with the win here. But certainly learning opportunities for these young players here who have lots of years in front of them and a lot of hope and promise. Very talented players, a little inexperienced, but very talented. And whether they come out with the win or the loss here, they'll have learned a lot.
And it's a two-way street, too, because the Knights have made a few mistakes, but really I think it's more Marymount doing positive things to come from a deficit and take the lead than the Knights actually making mistakes.
Absolutely, and it looks like the Knights have elected to play more of a sticky type defense here. Big block by Cale Thornton right there.
But
unfortunately,
Rutgers
don't get the rebound.
Pick up the loose ball and score. Boy, Thornton had a tremendous block, but the ball came right down to Rucker, and he was able to have the presence of mind to grab it and put it in.
Very unfortunate for the Knights, as that was just an absolutely amazing block by Cale Thornton. And you don't know whether he was maybe a little too pumped up after the block and wasn't really expecting the Saints to come right back with an offensive rebound and shot. But it happened, and now they're up 7. The Knights going to have to come up with an answer here.
Knights are going to need a three-pointer. Shea Douglas had his block, but a foul's called on Rucker, which will allow Shea to shoot 3 foul shots. So that keeps the Knights in the game. 3 free throws, if he can make them all, would cut the deficit down to 4 points with still 32 seconds on the clock.
And Douglas might have got away with one there, maybe sold it pretty well. I'm not sure. You know, we have kind of a hard angle here, but from this angle, it almost looked like Rucker got all ball on that three-pointer. But nonetheless, the refs have the final say. We have a foul, and Rashae Douglas has 3 shots here from the free throw line.
Shea's a 66% foul shooter, and he missed that one.
The Knights really relying on Douglas here in these final 2 free throw shots to put them within 5 with 32 seconds remaining.
2 more shots coming. That one's good. Edmonds, Winslow, Price will check in for the Knights, hoping to get some steals maybe. Shea Douglas, 1 more foul shot. He's made 1 out of 2 so far. He got 2 out of 3 to make it a 5-point ball game.
And now you begin to wonder here, Jim, if the Knights will elect to start fouling.
Pass comes up court to Kamara. He grabs the ball. Knights are going to have to foul him, and they do with 27 seconds to go.
And you almost began to wonder if they're going to try to get both hands on the ball, maybe come away with a jump ball call rather than the foul. But unfortunately, the Knights will have the foul. And we are now in the double bonus for Marymount University, who will have 2 shots from the line. Taking the line is Ibrahim Kamara, who is a 67.5% free throw shooter so far on the season.
It's a 5-point Marymount lead with 27 seconds to go. Well, the Saints hitting some big foul shots and just some big shots in general when they trailed by double digits. And the Knights had a chance to put the game away. Marymount has made a great comeback. And he got another foul shot. 7-point lead for the Saints. 27 seconds left to go.
And you know what comes next, Jim? The Knights are going to have to start putting up some three-point shots to get back in this game and then get back and foul. 7 points is a lot in 27.3 seconds, but definitely not impossible.
Marymount trying to make sure that Southern Virginia uses as much clock as possible before they fire a shot. Richardson's got to take that. Alec Johnson will take a three. Missed it. Rebound Marymount. That might be the ball game with 17 seconds to go.
Sending Josh Giardina to the line, a 71% free throw shooter.
This is really going to be a tough loss, Jake. It looks like right now the Knights would drop to 1-12 in the conference. And again, just so many games where they, especially at home, where they've had a chance to win. The York game, the Frostburg game, this one. Knights have had the one conference win at home against Mary Washington. Tell you one thing, though, the Saints, up until when they were trailing by double digits and the way they have played since then, are just like two totally different teams.
You're not kidding, Jim. You got to, like you said earlier, give credit to the Saints for the great offensive play that they've put on here in the second half. Overall, doing very well. And the Knights, not by lack of defense for the Knights playing some very hard defense, but the Saints just getting some really good contested shots to go, especially from behind the arc. Dimitri Rucker playing really well under the basket.
Yeah, number 11, Rogers, hit two big three-pointers that really helped Marymount build that lead as Douglas fires a three. He can't hit, but Rumbaugh is there for the slam.
Great job by Aaron Rumbaugh. Gets the nice high bounce off of the three-point shot from Rashae Douglas. Comes in with the one-handed shot emphatically and slams it home. Still behind 6 points, so 9.4 seconds to go in the game. You're going to see the Knights start checking in some of their quicker, more athletic players onto the court to
so
try.
If you're looking for a way to come back,
absolutely.
Obviously you need a steal, a three, a steal, and a three, all in 9 seconds.
Absolutely. So you see now Kellen Winslow, Jace Edmonds, and Michael Price checking into the basketball game. Much more athletic, quick players, hopefully to force a turnover on a full-court press here with 9 seconds to go. Get back, get a three-point bucket to go. You're only down 3 points with, who knows, 6 seconds left in the game, and next thing you know, it's a completely different landscape with a few seconds remaining in the ball game. Knights with a steep uphill battle to climb here with 9.4 seconds remaining in the ball game, but as we said just a few seconds ago, not impossible.
A lot of stars, though, for the Knights today. Aaron Rumbaugh, Shea Douglas, and Tyler McCready, just to name a few. But on the other side of the court for Marymount, Rutgers had a great game, but I really think those 2 3-pointers that number 11, Brandon Rogers, threw up, those were crucial three-pointers that really kind of took the air out of Southern Virginia just when they were trying to climb back into the game.
Absolutely, and you got to tip your hat off to Brandon Rogers for those clutch, very composed shots, and they were even contested.
Yep.
You wonder what's in the water over in Tokyo, Japan. That's where that's where Brandon Rogers comes out of, from the American school over in Tokyo, Japan. Who knows? I guess they play basketball in Japan. Thought they were more of a baseball country myself, but great basketball player in Brandon Rogers.
And Rogers will trigger the inbounds up court to Anderson. He's not going to do anything but try to run some clock off, and he ran off about 3 seconds off the clock before he got fouled. So right now it's a 2-possession game. If Anderson could just maybe get one foul shot, it's going to pretty much salt the game away. Marymount won the women's contest tonight, 75-57 over Southern Virginia. And Anderson missed the first foul shot. Still a 2-possession game.
And I can't help but laugh here, Jim. We have a couple fans here in the audience who are just really trying to get in the head of Michael Anderson here on these free throw shots. It's kind of comical. And you wonder if it worked, missing the first one.
And he missed the second one, but Kamara grabs the rebound with 5 seconds to go, and that might salt it away right now. The Knights would need 2 3-pointers, a steal, all in 5 seconds. Seems highly unlikely, and Kamara will go to the foul line.
And the Knights may be going to channel some more negative energy from the audience against these free throw shooters, as a pretty good free throw shooter, Michael Anderson, misses both, but Kamara up to the challenge, makes his first out of 2, now 74-67 over the Knights.
And Kamara's another guy who's made some big plays here in the second half for the Saints.
Really solid free throw shooter overall.
Got them both.
Looks like muscle memory here tonight for Ibrahim Kamara.
8-point lead, 5 seconds to go.
Knights going to have to get a very quick three-pointer off here.
Saints won't foul.
And it looks like they're going to elect.
Rimbaugh called for a travel with 1 second to go. Had a high dribble, carried the ball.
And that's unfortunate for Aaron Rumbaugh, looking to get the pass over to Rashae Douglas. Unable to do so, gets called for the travel. 1 second remains. You got to imagine they'll let the clock run out here.
And that's the ball game. Marymount wins it 75-67 as the Saints get the victory and improve to 7-6 in the conference, 10-10 on the season. Knights drop to 1-12 on the season in the conference, and now 3-17 overall in the season. Jake, a tough loss, needless to say, for the Knights, who had a double-digit lead in the second half, 53-43, just could not hang on to that lead. Got to credit the Saints. They made some big shots down the stretch.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm just reading this over here given by the SID, just a few extra stats. This is the 7th out of 8 home games this season where the Knights have lost by less than 10 points.
Yeah, the only blowout loss was the Salisbury game back in December.
Absolutely. The Knights playing very competitively at home, but just as the story's been this season, having a little bit of trouble closing out the basketball games. And as we said, a lot of young talent, and I put emphasis on talent because they have very, very talented basketball players, but maybe a little inexperienced, and maybe mentality and maturity getting the best of them just a little bit. But overall, the Knights playing very competitively in a good basketball game here as they outshot the Saints of Marymount University significantly, especially percentage-wise from the field. Just maybe turnovers got a little bit of the best of them in the second half, foul trouble in the first half, and those things begin to add up little by little towards the end of the game. Next thing you know, you're down, and it's hard to come back from. But the Knights overall tonight played very competitively and played a good basketball game.
So the last 3 outings here at home for the Knights, they lost to Frostburg by 1 point, lost to York by 3, and now lose by 8 to Marymount. But even that score is kind of deceiving, and it's an 8-point loss. But again, the Knights had a double-digit lead in the second half. And again, I think in a lot of these cases, especially I think tonight of all 3 games, Marymount just made the plays.
Absolutely. You got to give it to Dimitri Rucker down low, who had some big plays in the second half, played very strong down low against Cale Thornton and Tyler McCready. Good credit to him, and like you said, and we've said now for the 3rd or 4th time, Brandon Rogers with some absolutely clutch three-pointers to extend the lead over the Knights. And in addition to extending the lead, three-pointers can be really disheartening, especially when it's the same guy and you're contesting them. As we said, the Saints weren't catching fire due to lack of defense by the Knights. Almost every shot was completely contested by the Knights, but they were still getting them to go.
And you look at the Knights scoring, there are 3 double-digit scores. We talked about Shea Douglas, McCready, and also Aaron Rimbaugh really doing the job tonight.
Absolutely. 14 points for Rashae Douglas, 18 points for Aaron Rumbaugh, and 12 points for Tyler McCready. That's 2 games in a row now. Tyler McCready has scored over 10 points, led the Knights against York College of Pennsylvania a couple days ago, last Saturday, with 13 points, now with 12 tonight. Very, very impressive performance by Tyler McCready despite the loss. Lots of hope for him in the future.
So Marymount wins at 75-67. Don't forget, we've got men's volleyball coming up tomorrow night at 7 o'clock as Southern Virginia hosts the Liberty Club team. So make sure you join us on Thursday for men's volleyball. That'll wrap things up here from the Knight Sports Arena. I'm Jim Bresnahan for Jake and Josh and all of our production staff here at Southern Virginia University. Thanks again for joining us, everyone, for Knights basketball, and have a great evening.
That's why I said when they came out for the second half, I'm like, oh, the starting five's a lot different because I got so used to seeing, what's his face, McCord and Walker out there. Because after Danko and Rogers were almost out there remaining, almost the entire first half.
Pack all that up. Good, happy with the banner. Sure.